The late, the great Nioh. Well, not the late, but definitely the great. So I loved the alpha, the beta, the last chance trial, whatever. And this is footage of the first level, the first real level of me going through it for maybe the 4th or 5th time. I don't really know. I played just a ton of it between all those betas, alphas, whatever. And out of the way, best game I played last year, maybe the best game I played this year. I don't know, still early, but super awesome, great, I love it. I have some issues, and the issues are primarily are self-created. Because I spent about 20 hours playing the game through these various trials and have played the bulk of the first 3 levels, including one of the side missions was in the beta, and then all the little sub-missions so far have been new, except for that one. The 3rd level, the last half of it is new, and then the 4th level was all new. Anyway, I've died once on a boss. So like any of the bosses I've played before, I didn't die on, including this first one, including the next one. And it's not even like I'm over leveled, and I'm not even trying to say like I'm so much better or this game's too easy. I'm just really confused because like I remember the first time I played this, right? And there is a lot to learn, and it's reminiscent to Demon Souls in that it doesn't feel quite like what you might expect. So even if you played a bunch of Souls games, it can take, 20-30 minutes just to understand like, okay, this is the moment to moment gameplay of how I should play it. But I looked back at me playing this first area for the first time, and it took me, I don't know, 4 hours. Let's just say 4. I don't even know the right answer. 4 hours, including about 45 minutes on this boss to get through it for the first time. Not this time, because I've done it 16,000 times. And I see people on Twitch, and I see people across the internet, including, not to name names, but Polygon explicitly states this in their why the review was delayed. I don't even know if they have reviewed it yet. I don't really care. But they explicitly state, oh, it can take 8 hours to get to the main menu screen, right? Which means you beat this level after 8 hours of playing the game. And I've seen other people, just normals, that sounds mean, but just normal people, day-to-day people who said they've beaten Dark Souls and all that, spending hours on this boss, on this stage, trying to get through it. And it's hard for me to necessarily relate on 2 levels, because I have beaten this stage, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. By the time this game came out, I played through this level 4 times and beaten that boss 4 times, including the Twilight version in the beta. So I know what to expect. I know exactly what to do. And I get to this point, but it's not, I just don't, I'm not saying the game's easy or that the game should be harder. I'm saying I see people play this game and they're not playing it right. Is that right to say? I mean, sure, I've played a lot. Oh, this is really cool. Headshot. Just killed that guy. I played a lot of the game. I get that. But I finally got to a new stage. An entirely new stage. The 4th stage in the game. It's a mine. There's poison everywhere. My upstairs neighbors are moving chairs around because they think it's fun to move chairs around at all hours of the day. You can hear them. I hear you. I finally get to this new stage. I didn't die once on that stage. I didn't die once. Didn't die against the boss. Just kind of cruised through it. Now, granted, I might be a little over-leveled because I've only lost my Emerita or whatever, which are your souls, essentially. I've only lost them once, and I didn't even lose super that many. I've only died, 13 to 15 times, maybe? In the entire 10 hours of the game so far. That's how many times I've died. One was in the large tutorial area. One was when I fell off a cliff because I just ran off a cliff because I'm stupid. You know what I mean? One was against the boss, which was not necessarily a new boss, but kind of new because of the arena. The after Nioh, anyway, that's getting too much into the weeds. I've died a fair amount of times. It's all stupid reasons, but I see people playing this game just dying, just not understanding like the rules. And I it's not even like, oh, you haven't played a Souls game so you don't know. These are people who say they've beaten Dark Souls 1 and 2 and Bloodborne, and they don't understand like flanking or like dodging behind. Like you'll see when I fight the boss here, how I'm constantly maneuvering around him and dodging his abilities that way. And you'll also see my upstairs neighbor get their house burned down because they're moving furniture. This is carpeted. This floor is carpeted. How can you make that much sound? What are you even moving? I think they vacuum / move their furniture every week, which is psychotic. I understand being clean and whatever. Every week, you're gonna move your furniture to vacuum? It's an apartment. You don't own the place. So anyway, I don't understand where people are saying like, oh, these bosses, there's a lot of talk about this too. The bosses are too difficult. The boss fights take too long. The boss fights are this. The levels are too easy, but the bosses are too hard. I'm like, this is too hard. This is too hard. This is too this. This is too that. And I'm like, I think the game by and large is appropriately difficult. It's not super hard at all. There are moments that are like, oh, I fucked it up and that's on you, and sure. But it's largely, there's a lot to learn, and maybe that's what it is. It's just I learned it all. I learned all the stances. I learned what to do at different moments. I know exactly, like, oh, when they're with no ki, you can just attack them. It auto stuns them, including bosses. So when a boss loses all their ki, fucking go nuts. That is when it's time to do combos, to summon your little familiar guy and to do combos on them, because they can't retaliate if you're hitting them when they're in that state. And that's something I see a lot of people who've even played the game for 8 hours and have gotten through this boss finally. They don't know yet. But that's something I picked up on. Like, I didn't read a guide. I didn't read 10 things you should know about Nioh, right? I saw a trailer for it and I played the alpha. And I learned all these things in my 4 hours with this first stage, the first time I did it, way back in March or May last year. Anyway, this is all rambling and very, I don't know, elitist and stupid. Because I do think the game's great. I think it adds a lot of layers to the Souls formula in terms of like leveling up your skills and stuff like that. There's titles to earn, which weren't in the alpha or the beta. So it's basically doing different challenges like kill 50 enemies of this type, and you get some points, and if you unlock enough points in those categories, you get these little minor skill boosts, little stat boosts to your character overall. And it might be something very minor like 0.5% fall damage reduction. Like, it's very minor, but over the course of the game, if you've leveled it up, 15, 20 times, you could get some decent little buffs, right? You're still not done moving furniture? No? Okay. I just love, what are you doing? I will say again, carpeted. The floor is carpeted. Also, if you can move something around with such vigor, you can lift it. It's not that heavy, right? So lift it. Don't just push it around like a savage. Anyway, so I took this to heart. All this weird difficulty talk and me being, and this is actually a game I'm good at? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Am I good at something? I don't believe it. So I streamed the first 2 levels of the game, and I played them without leveling up. And I beat this boss without leveling up, just using new equipment. And now granted, at the end of the fight, he threw one of his balls outside of the arena. So he like got stuck. It was a very interesting glitch, which I need to, maybe someone needs to know about. He can throw his ball out of the arena and then he doesn't know what to do. And then he kind of eventually figures out what to do. But I beat the second boss, the entire second level and the second boss at level 1. And that's a fucking good fight. You're dodging moves, you're doing all this stuff. Maybe this is just the game for me. Maybe this is finally the game. I'm patient enough, I'm slow enough. I know exactly the moment when to strike and when to hold back. It's the game that's perfectly paced for me and the way I play a fighting action game like this. I'm also a huge fan of Ninja Gaiden, Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, like all those games. I got a platinum in Bloodborne, and I very much want to get the platinum in this game because it's great. And the biggest problem I have with this game, also no one's using magic correctly, very few people. The only problem I have with this game is in part that I've played so much of it before. It's, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4 stages? I've played 4 stages of this game, and then 3 Twilight versions of those same stages already. Right? I've already played that. Now, granted, there's a lot more to this game, but I've already played so much of it from the alpha and the beta that it remains. It's a little weird since I've done this so many times. However, it's still a ton of fun. I mean, I went through, and the Twilight stages in this were like glitched. They're just harder versions of the same stages. But it kept getting ones on the side, and it's like recommended level 120, and I'm like, well, that's not supposed to be here. And today it finally unlocked. It's like recommended level 18. I'm like, well, that's more in line. I'm like level 38 now, but I finally can do the Twilight version of this stage, and I did it. And I fought this. Now I was over leveled, sure, because the game didn't give me the mission. Beat this guy without getting hit. It's not that crazy. You know exactly what to do. They telegraph their attacks. And you can block. Like, this game is not Dark Souls with blocking. You can fucking block, okay? And block basically all damage most of the time. And you can dodge roll very easily. They've nerfed this boss in particular. This is what I'm talking about with damaging with the skill at the right moment. You can damage... I don't know where I was going. Who the fuck cares? They nerfed this guy because he used to throw the balls, and then you'd have to dodge after he threw it, otherwise the ball would suck onto you. Super annoying, but they changed that. They've made it easier. They've made it more approachable. And so I guess I'm just confused, and this goes back to the notion of that Doom video, which again Polygon did, the first hour of Doom, where you watch it and you're like, how can anyone play any game like this? Any game at all. Not even saying that you have to be good at games to play them or to review them or to whatever. But like, that's really bad. Like, there's a difference between saying like, oh, I'm really bad at like League of Legends or something because I don't play it, but like I'm not super good at those games. There's a difference between that and like just straight up going into the jungle and fighting the boss, the little boss monster that's in there, and dying. Like, there's a big difference between not knowing what you're doing and being a complete moron. And I also wonder how much of that is the case. Like, if it took the reviewer, I don't know who the reviewer is at Polygon, but they clearly didn't play the alpha and the beta. And maybe that's fine and whatever, but it seems like so many people that are reviewing this game haven't been playing it, like haven't been paying attention, aren't big Souls fans. I even see, this is why I stopped watching. I can't watch anyone play Dark Souls or Bloodborne. I just can't. I can't watch them do it because it's so bad. I watched someone stream the beginning of this game and they weren't locking on to people. And I was like in the chat going like, why aren't you locking on to people? And they're like, oh yeah, I forgot about it. You forgot about it. The whole game is about having one-on-one duels with other people. You forgot that you can lock on to them. It's absurd, some of the things that are happening. And then going back to Dark Souls, that's why I can't watch videos. I can't watch, oh, here's us playing the first 15 minutes of Dark Souls. And I'm like, y'all bunch of noob scrub idiots. I can't take it. You're not locking on. You're not dodging appropriately. You're being way too aggressive. You're not blocking. Like, you're going around a corner like, whoa. Like, no, why are you doing it like that? I understand falling into traps and not knowing they're there. There's a big difference between that and just running around like Leroy Jenkins. There's a big difference. And I keep seeing that more and more. And maybe I'm just the exception, that I play games way too slow and way too methodically, that I'm looking at all these little details. I'm playing this super slow. Like, I beat that boss. That was the first time I fought the boss in the full game. No problem. Like, I made some mistakes. Sure, I haven't fought him in what, 6 months or something. You know, I haven't fought that boss in forever. No, not a real problem. Next boss, not a real problem. Next entire level that had a new part, not a problem. The whole level after that, no problem. I think this hyperbole of it being so hard, the bosses being so hard, is way out of control. Way out of control. I would actually, I don't know, but see, even saying that, I don't want it harder. I don't want the game to be harder. It doesn't need to be harder, because clearly people can't play it already. And it goes back to what I said. This problem I have with it, of me not having a hard time yet, and it's still early, I play about 10, 12 hours. But again, my 10, 12 hours is 4 whole stages into the game, 2 Twilight missions, all the submissions, and everything completed. Like, I'm like level 45 or something. I don't even know. No, it doesn't matter. Right? Like, that's my 12 hours versus the not to bring up Polygon again. I like Polygon. I'm not like, yay, I don't have a t-shirt with Polygon on it, but I like Polygon. And even, well, I'll bring up someone else. Colin Moriarty's playing it. That's kind of funny. And he mentioned he's about 8, 10 hours into the game, and he was fighting the same boss. So his 12 hours into the game and my 12 hours into the game, way fucking different. The review on IGN mentions you could probably complete, I think it was IGN, you could complete everything. There was like 100 hours to do all the main story and all the side missions. And I'm like, that sounds awesome, but I don't think I don't think that's gonna reach the pinnacle to me. And I've yet to see a single review. I haven't looked explicitly for this. I've yet to see a single review explicitly state like, oh, I played the alpha and the beta. Because I'd love to see a review from that person who goes into it. Are those people also saying it's still really hard? I don't know. I don't even know if I have a point, to tell you the truth. This is just something I've wanted to talk about. And again, I created this. I'm the one who played 20 hours between the alpha, beta, and the last chance. I played those things because I played the alpha and thought that this game is incredible and I love it and I can't wait to play more of it. So of course, give me a beta, give me a last chance, whatever. I'll play more. Yeah, it does seem like that, but it seems like something people will have different experiences with. Yes, but I think it's even bigger than that, because so many people so I played a lot of the beta, alpha, whatever. At where I was at 2.5 hours into the game is where some people are 8 hours into the game. That's an absurd difference, right? Like, that's, if this game is 40 hours for me, it could be 60 to 80 hours to other people. That's absurd. That's a huge difference. That's a quantum leap in disparity, right? That's not normal. That's not a normal thing. Like, I can play, let's say, Dragon Age Inquisition, which I played a lot of, and I did a lot of the side missions, and I explored the little areas and had a lot of fun with it. And I did that in about 80 hours. And I hear other people like, I'm playing for 120 and I still haven't found everything. In a game like that, there's exploration you can do. There's different combat situations you can do. This is pretty linear. Like, this is follow the map, and just as long as you don't die, and you should learn something even if you do die about the scenario you're going into, you shouldn't have too much of a problem eventually overcoming it. It seems like this might be, as I kind of stated about 10 minutes into the rant ago, this might be the perfect game for me. It might be the perfect how I play games game, because everything clicks, from like how the combat works to how the bosses work, where the checkpoint shrines are. Everything just clicks together. Like, oh, that's over there. I know where this is. I know it's very much, I played a lot of the Ninja Gaiden games, so I know, I'm familiar with kind of how they do levels. It feels very familiar, especially this Ninja Town. It feels very Ninja Gaiden-y. And I think it's great, even with my complaints that it's just weird. It's weird that I'm having not a very difficult time. Not that it's been super easy, but it's like completely overblown, largely. And not even that it needs to be hard. It's also, maybe that's the problem I have with it. Because I'm a big Souls fan, I hear people say, like, oh, they played Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1 and 2 and Bloodborne, and they're having a lot of trouble with this. It's like, man, you play this for 2 hours, you should be You should be right in it. You should be right in it and know exactly what it is, because it's very much, it's a completely different rule set from Souls, but it's like applied knowledge. You should know all those things. It carries over. And it just doesn't seem like it's carrying over as much. I really should find a review that mentions the reviewer playing the alpha and the beta, because I'd love to hear that. I haven't talked with anyone who's been as super into Nioh as I have this entire time, what their opinions on it are. Because I'm cruising to the, well, not really cruising, I'm doing all the side stuff, so it's like takes forever because I'm doing these side missions that I already did. Oh, and it's so dumb too, because you got little bonuses for completing the alpha or completing the beta, and it's just armor. It's just armor that's good at the beginning, but if you were good enough to beat the alpha or the beta, you don't need that armor, I would imagine. It's just weird. It's just strange. It's a great game though. I'm kind of talking a lot about things that don't matter, because at the end of the day, I think the game's fantastic. I think if you're scared away by the difficulty, you don't necessarily need to be. You can probably read a little guide or tips list of something and take it to heart, watch some videos, and really learn what to do. Like, you can see me here, like, I just like fucking don't care. Like, oh, just kill this guy. Like, whatever. Every single enemy is so predictable. Like, when you get hit, you know why. You know the three, like, oh, this guy's gonna do a 3-hit combo. I just wait till the end of the 3-hit combo, and it's done. Like, here, let's watch me fight this guy. Okay, so he's got his little thing. Now you attack when he's done, and you go circle around him, do a little thing to get rid of the orb on the ground, which drains your ki. Keep fighting him. Now his stamina's drained. Do a special move on him. His stamina's still drained. You can keep attacking him with no penalty. I fucked up because I was too aggressive, and I got hit. Right? That's what happened. You get too aggressive, you get hit. Now he's doing this again. Dodge out of the way, and you hit him again. Oh, like that was so difficult. Especially when you can block and block most of this. Like, you don't even have to really do advanced maneuvers. Like, there's parrying and stuff like that. I don't do it. I can't do stuff like that. I've never been able to do the repost stuff in Dark Souls. Terrible at it. So I don't do it. But he does that attack, and now you can attack. And don't be too aggressive, because he's going to attack you again. Very slow and steady wins the race. That's all it is. This fight takes, what, a minute? And it's not a normal enemy. This is an enemy that you'll fight and kill, and then he'll be gone for good. You bait him in. He does his 2 moves, and you kill him. And see, now his key's red again, and you can keep fighting him, and you can chop off his head. Done. Oh, the loot is fantastic. That's another layer besides the leveling up and the skill system. The loot. It's a Destiny loot system or a Diablo loot system layered onto a Souls game, which is really cool. Super, super cool. I really appreciate that. And he's got these cute little frogmen. How could you not like the frogmen? Come on. Come on. And this is a side mission too that takes you to a level you've already done, but it puts the start point in a different area, and like other sections are blocked off, so the path is different. Really like it. It does a great job of putting you back in those same areas again and kind of letting you see them in a different way. So I don't know. I have to come back to this. I have to play a ton more of it, beat it, and then be like, okay, y'all a bunch of whiners, the game's not too hard. Or come back and be like, okay, I got to a point where I was flummoxed. But it remains to be seen. Also, I love shooting these weirdos. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stuff too that I just don't think people read. It doesn't do itself any favors with some of this stuff, like the key pulse doesn't explain it very well, especially in the alpha. I was like, huh? Then they explained it in the beta a little better. They've learned a lot. But see, look, you can fight all these guys. Like, it's no big deal. I got my lightning sword. These guys don't do shit. That guy's stunned now. That guy's almost dead. You gotta kill that one. Chop that one to bits. It's done. Merry Christmas. dead bodies. All right, that's the show. Every Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, twitch.tv/thegamefanatics. Probably going to be Nioh for a while. And could you stop making noise? On my own channel, twitch.tv/BenReacts, I play Super Mario Maker. And this last Wednesday, I played through the first two levels of the first two levels of Nioh, not leveling up, and I beat them. And I might continue that just to see how far I can go. Probably not much further. You should hope difficulty picks up. Doesn't sound like fun. I'm not cruising so much. I'm kind of cruising. I have like 1 death per hour on average, which seems low when you're talking to people. I haven't lost a lot of souls or whatever. Like really, I've only lost souls once in my entire play. But I like it. It's still fun. It's still challenging enough. It's not like it's easy. It's just I know what it's doing. Like, oh, this guy's going to do his 3-hit attack. Let me back up and attack. Okay, let me wait. I know exactly what he's going to do, right? Like once the game starts adding in new enemies, then I'll be like, okay, now what's going on? But at this point, nothing's been new in terms of enemies. There was a new boss that I fought, but I don't know. I do hope it does pick up in difficulty, but even saying that, it doesn't need to pick it up much. It can just be a little more, and I think it will be. Once it gets to stuff that I haven't seen before, it should. I mean, there was that whole level, the whole new level. I didn't even die in it. But there's harder versions. There's harder versions of the level. I think there's a new game plus. The game's fantastic. I want to get the platinum anyway, so I'm going to be playing the shit out of it. It's a ton of fun. I just kind of think everyone's being a little baby. But I don't know. I also do very much enjoy destroying all the pottery and everything else that's associated with that. Like this. You just, okay, he's doing his attack, right? Now he has no key. Attack him. Do your special move. He's dead. Like, it's just, all it is learning what to do. It's like playing poker. As soon as you know the rules for poker, you're fucking playing poker, right? Like, that's all it is. Okay, this guy's gonna be here. He's gonna fall down there. I can do this attack on him. I even messed that up. It doesn't even matter because he was so dead. The game's great, though. I should write a guide for this. At a certain point, I played through this stupid level so many goddamn times. Just do this, stupid. Okay. Even the boss I didn't die in that was new was really cool. And I would have rather have failed. Maybe I do want it to be much harder. Because, like, I would have rather failed and had to see it again and see his entrance and, like, try and learn some things. Because even though I've beaten, you know, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, even though I've beaten those, like, there'd be points in Dark Souls 3 that I got stuck. Like, this boss sucks. I hate fighting him. And, like, this is hard. And the same goes for Bloodborne. And the same goes for Dark Souls 2, even though I played all the prior Souls games. But at this point, it hasn't happened yet. There was one optional boss fight that is tricky and was in the beta that's super annoying that I abuse kind of the AI. Where there's a rock in the arena that you can circle around. That's the only way I can do it. I feel like the rock's there intentionally for you to do that. But whatever. Even that fight, I think I died 3 times. Like, I eventually figured out, like, oh, if I hide like this, I learned all his... I don't know. That fight sucks. Also, that fight really sucks. That fight's terrible. I don't agree with it at all. Like, reduce his damage and give him more HP, and it would have been super cool. But he does way too much damage, and it's not fun. For the winning strategy, for me to be like super cheesing the fight, and I don't see any other way to do it legit that isn't a horrible, not fun experience. Fight's not for me. Not for me. I do enjoy shooting people in the head. You could shoot people's heads off with arrows. It's a fucking good game. All right, the show's over. It's a good game. I'm a whiny baby too in this too. Whining about everyone else, complaining about whining. Like, it's something. Click it, click it, click it.